In the previous lecture, we have created our blog posts based on the MD files that we have created in our posts directory. Now we would want to render articles on a single page, so whenever we click on the Go Somewhere button here, or we can change it to Read More, we would click on that and we would go and read more about that article. Now, in order to do that, we would need to take a closer look at the Gatsby configuration files and what they are. Now, currently, we know the Gatsby browser.js file is where we can add our global CSS, but here is where we can interact with browser API. I'm going to leave a link in the resource section of this video where you can find more about it. We can customize the Gatsby settings that affect the browser. Now, we also have the Gatsby config. And here, as you know, we can provide site metadata, which can be title, description, keywords, etc. We can also provide plugins, but there's much more. You can go to the Gatsby config docs here, and as you can see, we have path prefixes, polyfill, mappings, and middleware. So this is our core of the Gatsby configuration. We also have third and fourth options for configurations. We have the Gatsby-Node.js file. Now that Gatsby Node.js file provides us the customization of the Gatsby settings that affect the site building process. Now last but not least, we have the Gatsby-sr.js file. In this Gatsby-sr.js file, we can affect the server-side rendering settings. So now here we're going to use the Gatsby Node.js file. So let's go ahead and create that. So type Gatsby Node.js. So now in order to interact with the Node API, we would need to type export, and after that we would need to find the usages of the API. So we would want to use the onCreate node. So let's go ahead and click here and take a look what we have. We can provide a node and actions. More on that later. Don't worry about it, just follow along. So let's just type exports on create node, and this is going to be equal to, let's destructure only the node here, and we would want to provide an arrow function, and here we would want to console log the name of the node. So let's type console log node.internal.type. So this is going to print our node name while it is building. So let's stop our developer server and run it again to see what's happening. So type Gatsby develop, and as you can see, whenever we start building our site page or the site plugin or the file system plugin and the markdown remark plugin, we're going to print their name. Okay, so now that we know whenever we create a node, we can print our node type. Now we would want to create slugs for each and every node. So basically we're printing 2 times markdown remark because we have 2 posts. If we have a third post, we're going to print that a third time. So whenever we go through our posts, we would want to create a slug, which is, if you do not know what a slug is, it's basically like a / and the name of the post, like first post or something like that. So we would want to create the slugs and add them to our markdown GraphQL. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the following. First, let's delete our console log here. And now we would want to import our create file path, which is going to come from our Gatsby source file system. So let's copy this. And this is basically going to create our slugs. So make sure you have installed this plugin on your Gatsby.js project. If you haven't done that already, please stop here and install your file system plugin. So on top, let's type const create file path that's going to require, and here I would recommend you copy the name from here, because sometimes I make typos. And now we have imported our create file path here. And now whenever we create a node, we would want to check if that node type is a markdown remark. So type the following: if our node.internal, that's where we store the types, type is equal to, let's go ahead and type markdown remark. And whenever we have that node, we would want to console log and create the page, create the file path, which is going to return the file path basically. File path. So we would want to provide some arguments here. The first argument is going to be node. And the second argument that we would want to provide here on the create on top is to get node, and we would want to provide it passed along to the create file path, so get node here. And we would also want to provide the base path. So the base path is basically where our MD files are going to be. So the default here is pages. However, we have created our MD files in the posts directory here. So what we would want to do is to provide posts here. So let's go ahead and stop our development server and see what we're going to get in the console. So let's type Gatsby develop. And as you can see, we have created and printed our slugs over here, the first blog post and the second blog post. So we have successfully created our slugs. Now we need to store them in the markdown remark GraphQL section. So this is it for this lecture. See you in the next one.